leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-Side official. No negotiation needed, period. You already know WCS is back in the building. We're going to talk about a topic to try to get some clarification and understanding. We need some straightening. Okay? Let's get right down to the topic at hand. The lie. The narrative pushers. These are a group of individuals that have been around for quite some time now. But my problem with them is the amount of time that they put on social media saying that they follow boxing. They're not doing anything productive to try to build up the social media platform or the community and what they perceive to be the YTBC. When the YTBC initially tried to birth itself, WCS quickly clipped the umbilical cord to that nonsense. I quickly exterminated the YTBC narrative or acronym because there's no such thing as the YouTube boxing community. There's no such thing. You have to have some type of prerequisites. You have to have some type of criteria, some type of standard operating procedures. You have to have some type of decorum and etiquette, some type of integrity to say that it's a YouTube boxing community. No such animal. No such. It's a bacteria. It's a fungi. But it's no species. It's no group of humans, that can say we're part of the YouTube boxing community. It's no establishment. It's no date, no born date to the YouTube boxing community. It's no set history to say, yeah, we can look back on this and say, yeah, that's when this YouTube boxing community actually took off. And man, we can say we're proud of what it became. No. You know why? Because you have individuals in here that their sense of thinking is selectively clouded. And it's in a bad way. We be waiting for fights that's on the highest tier to present itself, for the ink to dry, for it to be announced and made official, right? We be waiting on that type of stuff. Then when it happens, we're temporarily happy. It's almost like you're dehydrated and somebody tell you to lean your head back. And you know how you have eye droplets and they want to give you some liquid, some water, or some Gatorade through an eye droplet. That's how we be waiting on big fights in boxing. That's how we be waiting on the best to fight the best, because it's always something dramatic that's keeping these fights from happening. So we look at it from many different lenses. Why do these fights not happen all the time? It's many different variables. But I can tell you one distractor is you have people out here that can hold down a platform and they can speak about fights they want to happen. But in no way, shape, or form, it seems like they encourage other casual boxing fans and non-boxing fans to tune in and listen to as to why we need to see this fight happen. No, what they get is we get a fight that's developing, And then you have voices that come out and all they have to say is negativity about why these two shouldn't fight. Or if they have every reason to fight and they're in the same weight class and they, can be considered equal across the board, somewhat 50-40. 60-40, 70-30 something. A side, B side type talk. But they're in the same division. They're high in the ranking ladder, right? You always have somebody come out here and start speaking about why the fight shouldn't happen. If the fight does happen, this is what's gonna happen for so and so. Like you want the best to fight the best, but these so-called YouTube media segues will make it about money. They'll make it about a fighter not being qualified to step in the ring with this person. They'll start saying, "Oh, that fighter haven't sold too much in their own town." Look, the only thing that's really a template or format when it comes to boxing is how some of these fighters build their resume. They just don't come out the gate fighting champions. They have to build it up. That is a template, a format that has been registered forever and a day in boxing. So it depends on how much confidence that team has in that fighter as to how long they allow that to happen. Sometimes it's 10 fights against soft touches, 15 fights. It depends on who you are. But when a fighter finally has the breakout that he or she has been looking for, in this case, we're talking about he, finally have that breakout, levitates. Versus a fighter who may have a more popular name. Because we have to understand, in the sport of boxing, there are always going to be some popular, unpopular fighters. And to that unpopular fighter, FICO score is raised, right? And they come into the picture and people say, "Oh shit! Oh, hold up. So and so, oh they in the division now. Oh, they making a name for themselves. Oh man, so and so's a champion." That's kind of what happened with Brian Norman though. He finally made his stage appearance. The curtains was drawn, and he started his ascension. Now he's at the ascension, and he's put some highlight reels. I'm disgusted. I am. I'm really disgusted. He put together some highlight reels, and the pallbearers come out to kill his career, y'all. The pallbearers, just like they did Crawford. Man, they talk about snack and all that. Brian Norman's not even on snack. But these goddamn coward pallbearers came out to kill a fighter's career when the fight is actually a solid fight. It's actually a cool fight. From both sides of the spectrum, fight fans consider this to be a competitive fight. Real tight, real talk. They consider this fight at this juncture, even though with Devin Haney being an undisputed fighter at 135 and the WBC title holder at 40, being that Devin Haney's never fought at 147, clearly Brian Norman has experience up there. So now we come to a point where this wasn't the first all be all matchup that we was looking for. Let's be honest. This wasn't it. Team Norman had mentioned several occasions that they was going to call out boots after they got with Jin Sasaki. But when we saw these pigeons and storks flying over, when we saw them crows flying over, we know some shit was about to go down. We knew it was something dead on the horizon. We saw vultures, all that. Come to find out, Jerron in his heart was out there and they was just taking bits and pieces of it. It was laying out there in the goddamn opening. It was in like stage 2 rigor mortis, y'all. They up here had Jerron Ennis in Hollywood. Would you like to know why he was in Hollywood? Y'all didn't know that, did you? They had Jerron Ennis in Hollywood leading up to that fight with Brian Norman, Jin Sasaki. Y'all didn't know that. I'm about to break some news to you. Jaron Ennis was in Cali. He was in Hollywood because they had the casting of the Wizard of Oz 4. Yeah, real talk. I'm not bullshitting you, yo. They wanted Jaron Ennis to play the lion. They felt he would be perfect right now. They felt that he would be perfect to play the lion. Since everybody portrays him to be the lion, but all of a sudden, when the fight happened over Japan, they announced that he's moving up to 54. I wish him nothing but the best. But I really hope he gets that role. I really hope he gets the role and it works out good for him. But something ain't right. But best thing about it, right, is that when it comes to Brian Norman, filtering through all the BS of people trying to, cap for Ennis, and the reason why he went to 54 after saying he made the weight easily. I get it. Humans are easily persuaded, right? For free, pro bono. Some pro bono, they're easily persuaded. Now we have to, look at the landscape on who was up next for Norman, because Teofimo act like he didn't want no part of that. You know what I'm saying? Tio was in Hollywood too. They was gonna cast him as the 10 man. Yeah, they was gonna cast him as a 10 man. But it comes down to Team Haney, right? Just like I said earlier, let's dial it back just a little bit and readjust the calibration on this, right? When months had passed by and Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman's negotiation fell apart, right? And we found out the news that they was going overseas. Then we found out Jaron Ennis, fight Stantionis, got that out the way. Norman got Jin Sasaki out the way. I didn't hear anything about any test. VADA 365, I didn't hear anything about it. Only thing I know about VADA 365, Nonito Donaire has been officially documented as being the first fighter to get on VADA 365. That's what I know. But I didn't hear years ago. I didn't hear leading up to the Crawford Spence fight. I didn't hear when Benavidez was freaking fighting. I mean, all these fights that have taken place, man, I didn't hear anything about VADA 365. When Beterbiev and Bivol was fighting, I didn't hear nothing about VADA 365, shawty. I didn't hear nothing about that with Fury facing Alexander Usyk. Sebastian fighting Tim Tszyu the first time. Jamal Charlo Cornflake. I didn't hear nothing about no VADA 365, man. El Rayo fighting Gary Russell Jr. I didn't hear nothing about that. Sandro Martin fighting Alberto Puello. Didn't hear nothing about that. Liam Paro fighting Matias. Championship fights. Didn't hear nothing about that. Richards and Hitchens fighting Liam Paro. I didn't hear nothing about that. Nope, I didn't hear anything about that. What about Teofimo Lopez? When his recent fight, I didn't hear anything about that. Ryan Garcia coming off a year suspension to fight Rolly Romero. I didn't hear nothing about VADA 365 from Team Haney. Why wouldn't they want to make sure Jose Ramirez? Oh, my fault. They tried to say, hey, we're not fighting Ryan Garcia, but we would suggest that we would like for him to get on VADA 365 tomorrow. Just out of nowhere. But not the first fight when it would have counted. But they wanted him, doing his suspension to get on VADA 365. And Ryan Garcia responded absolutely not. But throughout all the fights, y'all, I just haven't heard Vada 365 like I've heard it now. I find it to be extremely disingenuous. I look at it as if is unreasonable to a point. Because we're talking about how they was trashing Jin Sasaki not being anybody important. You know, another Japanese fighter. Even someone was saying that it's possible for Brian Norman to get hurt with this guy because, you know, he looked the part to be a character on Goku, on anime. They were saying he was Goku. You know, they was hyping him up and everything. Oh, man, he looks the part. He looks serious. Look at him. Look at his eyes, the way he's beaming. He's glowering down Brian Norman's eye sockets. Norman looks scared. That's what they said. But they also was dogging him out for fighting Jin Sasaki because he had already been stopped before. So basically what they was trying to do was depreciate any type of value or praise prior to him stepping in Japan and fighting Jin Sasaki. He happens to go in there while the fight lasted and relieve that man of his conscious duty. That's exactly what Brian Norman did. He relieved him of his conscious duty. You've been relieved. Fall out. That's exactly what happened. He relieved that man of his conscious duty. This is a fighter who had already been stopped prior in his life. So people are looking at the video going viral. Norman's on World Star. He's all over the place with interviews, all that. You don't hear people up here with torches lit when he was going around on his press tour talking about, hey, Norman, hey, glad to have you here today. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Yes, I know the state of Georgia is very elated to have a world champion right in their hometown. Take us through the moments. What would you see that you knew a shot like that would present itself, you know, with such a tough Japanese competitor? You know, they was talking the talk of an interview. They wasn't talking this Vada 365 shit. Let me let you see what Blair the Flair said on Boxing News 24. How he believes the fight is going to play out. Blair Cobbs, another welterweight contender, says Devin Haney, the Roadrunner, will use nonstop. That's not what I said, okay? Devin Haney, the Roadrunner, will use nonstop movement in his fight against WBO welterweight champion Brian Norman Jr. on November 22nd. The moment will create a situation where each round will be based on 2 or 3 punches landed. Did you hear what Blair just said? He said the movement will create a situation where each round will be based on 2 or 3 punches landed. It will be Devin who will land those punches. You hear that? Turki Al-Sheikh's nightmare scenario. It would be the worst for Turki Al-Sheikh to see Haney fighting that way on November 22nd card. There's nothing he can do about it. Devin only cares about winning and limiting the punch output of Norman. Is the best way for him to do that. End quote. I think it's Bill and Devin Haney trying to figure out a way into the market, said Blair Cobbs. Talking about Haney choosing to fight Brian Norman Jr. for the WBO welterweight title in November. Bill Haney, opponent choice. Bill Haney chooses the opponent for Devin. So for this fight to happen, he scouted Brian Norman Jr. and decided he was made to order for Devin's hit and run style of fighting. Hit and runs. That's not what I'm saying. Devin's hit and run style fighting. It's not what I'm saying. End quote. Furthermore, I don't think Brian Norman has what it takes to do the things to someone like Haney. You can't run and punch at the same time, said Blair. So there are going to be opportunities. But if you're just chasing him around, which Brian Norman can easily fall into and get popped with a jab. Norman Jr. has the timing, reach, and enough foot speed to get to Haney. He'll lose a lot of power on his shots because he'll be focused to take some zip off of them to land against a moving target. If he swings with full force all night, he'll miss often. If he doesn't mind missing, he can still have success by loading up on the his shots. It would be like how Julian Jackson fought Terry Norris in 1989. Listen, it is up to Team Norman Jr. to come up with a strategy that includes what? Body punching, body attack, body strategy. Okay, it's up to them. I just don't see Norman chasing Devin around the ring all night long without landing a punch. If Norman don't understand the magnitude of this fight, which he does, then you will see it play out in the ring as if they're not on the same level. But he's matured, in my opinion. He's improved. So for them to come in there and think Brian Norman's going to headhunt all night long, trying to chase Haney around the ring, then somebody should make sure Showbiz is there with his goddamn homemade poster. I petitioned for the no running rule. I did, Turkey. I did. Somebody make sure Showbiz, the poster maker, is there ringside so he can implement the no Tom and Jerry rule. Okay. Let's not act like that because I shut it down. Don't act like he didn't put that out there. He said he was the creator. Well, you got Boxing News 24 over here saying that potentially in a fight of this absolute magnification, it's a possibility for Haney to sweep the outside, to basically become a counterpuncher, to somehow enforce Brian Norman to follow him and try to set traps for counter shots. That's what they're assuming on here. It goes on to say Jackson was known for his one-punch power, but he had a difficult time landing against Norris due to his movement. He caught up to him in the second round to score one-punch KO. Brian Norman Jr. could have the same success if he doesn't get frustrated with Haney's nonstop movement. One thing that has surprised me to no end about Norman is a lot of times, most of the time, his facial expression don't change. A lot of times, composure is everything, especially when you have to pretty much collect data on the habits of a fighter that's moving around a lot. You have to collect data to see the subtle movements, to see if they have any trends, to see which way are they constantly going. You know, every fighter has a favorite way out. Which way is Devin going to pick if he was in that situation like Shakur Stevenson? It's not too many fighters that can fight off the ropes like Shakur. I'm not going to lie. But William Cepeda, I mean, it's not like he had to do a lot to get Shakur to the ropes. But due to the strategy, probably not to wear his legs out, he fall off the ropes. Is that something that Devin would do with a hard-hitting Norman Jr.? I wouldn't foresee it. I don't know. I wouldn't foresee it, though. It said Haney's Roadrunner style analysis. Because once again, they say Roadrunner, right? Showbiz say he is the creator, the author of the no running rule when it clearly states in the ABC that the referee has discretion to correct the fighter if they are refusing to fight, if they are fleeing. Okay, I just want to put that out there again. It goes on to say the whole fight is based on one or two punches that are ever landing in each round. That could easily happen. This guy, Haney, is a road runner now. And you've got slightly slower fighters chasing him down. Against Brian Norman, quite possibly, it'll work for Haney, said Cobbs. That's precisely what Haney did in his last fight against Jose Ramirez on May 2nd. He moved nonstop, not getting hit, and landing occasion shots when he stopped moving for a second. He always threw just one punch before taking off again. This is coming from Boxing News 24, not me, WCS. The rounds were decided on just a small handful of punches, around 3 or 4. But that was enough. Haney is going to do the same thing against Norman, but even more so, he's going to move more because he has to keep from getting knocked out. The odds favor Haney because they're not taking a fight that they even remotely think is a problem, said Blair. I disagree with Blair. They have to believe this is a problem. If you gave Jose Ramirez that much respect and he presented less of an intensive threat as Norman, you have to understand they will go in there fully aware that that punch that Jen Sasaki seen, I mean, maybe he's seen it out of his peripheral, or maybe he's seen the shadow when it was too late. Maybe, I don't know, man. It's too many maybes. I just don't want to cloud you up with maybes, yo. For real, I don't want maybe to come like a, you know what I'm saying, a pseudonym, a pseudology, a word that you don't want to use no more because you're like, I don't like that word. You know, you might get some flashbacks, but to say that Jose Ramirez allowed Haney to move around where somehow that's going to transfer over to the fight strategy that Norman and them have, I don't see it. I don't see it happening at all. I don't see it with both eyes open. I just don't see them being able to run, as Showbiz said, a no running rule, without Showbiz jumping up on the ring apron, waving his poster. Come on, ref. He's running. Penalize him. Deduct a point. I'm the creator, no Tom and Jerry. Come on, man. Y'all better get Showbiz and tell him to start, enacting. He better make sure legislation is done. The bill, you better make sure they get together and vote. Since you are the author, the creator, the God, the king, your Lord of the no running rule. Blessed be Tom and Jerry. Clouds make a good point, they say. The Haneys vetted Brian Norman Jr. ahead of time before they agreed to take the fight for November 22nd Riyadh season card. If they didn't believe they could win, they would have refused to take it. Devin has built up a big enough nest egg the last 3 years that he can afford to miss out on a huge payday. Once again, Devin has built up a big enough nest egg over the last 3 years that he can afford to miss a huge payday like this one. If he weren't at least 90% certain he could best Norman, he'd have said no to the matchup. I disagree. I think at this point in time, in order for them to get any type of purse that they're looking for with Norman, it wasn't too many options out there. Blair the Flair, the fighter who was quoted in this article, his name doesn't even come up in this equation or this lineup. No one's calling for his name. I wish they would. But when it comes down to Team Haney seeking out, people got it all wrong. Senior came over here and said that Turki Al-Sheikh called them up, and they was the first one to get back with Turki Al-Sheikh. It wasn't like Team Haney called Turk and say, "We ready. We want to fight Norman. Send out the paperwork. Let us know when they return." No, it wasn't like that. So to get on here and, when Bill was capping, talking about they was waiting on Team Norman and all that, it turned out to be incorrect, untrue. You feel me? It turned out to be untrue. So the reality is, when Turkey sent out the paperwork, the Normans came back first and say, "Yeah, we'll take the fight," and all that. So somehow, Bill doing Bill, he got experience in these dang YouTube streets. He had to somehow turn and make it seem like they are the ones that's out here doing charitable donations for the sport of boxing. When have you ever known that to happen? But all of a sudden, for Team Norman, they're doing charitable donations. Oh, we're doing you a favor. We're helping you out. We're doing this to take the fight. Well, who else you gonna fight at 147? I mean, you was a once upon a time WBC champion at 140, right? Why you just didn't get the Barrios fight? If you got pulled like that, why you couldn't get the Barrios fight? He was just sitting over there chilling. Why come over here to the Norman's belt sanctioned body and act like, man, I gotta gain back that control. I gotta make it look like we're the ones who is benefiting and handing out the olive branch to Team Norman to say, hey, do you want to fight us? It's a privilege for you to step in the ring with us now. It's an opportunity that we're giving you. We're doing you a favor. I mean, not from the likes of it. I mean, not from the looks of it. You know what I'm saying? Not from the looks of it. It's a lot that's going to have to be done in that ring. All the pushing and shoving. Obviously, security didn't know that they was about to mess up the bag. What if any type of injury would have happened? Now we in court. Now this fight is never going to happen because we're in court. But we're, you know, possibly in court for a legitimate reason at that. For a legitimate reason. But the good thing about it, that's not the case. But now I want you to take a look and ask yourself, is what you hear out here in the social media, does it seem like they're boosting the fight up? Like when you hear them talk about drug tests and they're not doing this at the drug test and this should be drug tested, and why can't he do it ASAP right away? Okay, so the 2 weeks go by and you don't hear anything, right? Because it don't take a month for drug tests to come back. 2 weeks go by, jump into testing, and they start testing. Nothing comes out of it. You know what these boxing voices are going to do? They're going to be solid. They're not going to say anything. Deep down in their heart of hearts, in their dark space of emptiness, they're going to say, oh, man, I thought we caught him. Damn, I thought we caught him slipping. What you going to do now? If you really don't want to fight Brian Norman, you got to come up with something different. Like y'all had a meteorite drop in your backyard and take out your whole house. You know what I'm saying? You lost everything. You're going to have to come up with something different. You're going to have to come up with something that's totally out of this world for people to believe that that's the reason, legitimate reason the fight not happening. Let me get to the chat right quick, yo. Shout out to AB, man. Honor Brown on deck, man. Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. What they do, people? Haynes Legacy on deck. What they do, man? Salute to you and the fam. As always, man. One love, man. Hope all is well. Blunts, I see you, man. The News by Shaw News, the Sauce Experience in the building. What's good with it, Shaw? Team Tucker official on deck. YouTube boxing a bunch of jealous, emotionless fans and sit online and never outside putting on for boxing. I mean, you have to check the box on that, man. You have to check the box. What's going on, Smoke? You have to check the box on that. But with them being outside with no motion, they do have access to, what's that word I'm looking for? A mic. Audio. English. Okay? Electricity. Yes. Subscriptions. Yes. Apps. Applications. Yeah. Okay. You know, little small essentials. Trey, what's good, man? What's good? So my whole point was this fight came out of nowhere, which it has some very good equity in it from both sides. It's competitive. Both reached the championship level, right? Devin Haney just a bit more decorated with undisputed 135 than Brian Norman. At the end of the day, when you talk about fighting styles with both fighters and the potential threat of a fighter getting hurt is there. You talk about boxing skills, it's there. It's a lot that complements the shit out this fight. But it's just marred with all this drug shit. It's almost like when boxing fans come loud and boisterous about acting like they came up with a new finding. It's almost like they don't even want the fight to happen. They're going to do everything in their mama to tear it down with someone who has not been accused or had a positive test comeback of being a drug cheat. But at the end of the day, you get enough narrative pushers out here, they will act like it's true, like it's been officially announced that the A and B sample came back. And that's unfortunately propaganda. That's agitprop, and that's rubbish, as they say in London. That's rubbish. Frivolous information that they pass along to the gullible. Individuals that's willing to sponge up everything and go and regurgitate it somewhere else. So what they just did is help grow a virus in the sport of boxing, like we don't have enough as it is. We already have enough viruses. You get a fight like this where it's on paper going to be competitive. Why would somebody come up with the freaking pad shit as if Jen Sasaki is 50-0 and he's never been stopped? 50-0, 50 knockouts. And all of a sudden, Brian Norman come out there and knocks him out cold, flatlining. I mean, hell, they should have got DJ to go in there and grab his glove. You know how DJ was up there fondling Bud Crawford's glove, molesting Bud Crawford's glove. Yeah, massaging. Oh yeah, he was doing all that shit to Crawford's glove after the fight. He wanted to see can he be Billy Collins Sr. He wanted to see can he be Billy Collins Sr. No, I know I didn't train Arrow that bad. Let me massage these gloves right now. I know if I feel one knuckle, let me feel one freaking knuckle. Oh my God. I'm going to ask for them to impound these gloves if I feel one knuckle. Derrick James was out there full-blown massaging. But I didn't hear anything about the gloves, though. That's another crazy aspect to this. I didn't hear anything about the gloves. Like, are the gloves freaking... Are they manipulated? Was it contraband? Was it the plaster Paris? Did they stop with Hamza Shiraz's office gym before they came to there? Did they get that special wrapping sauce that Antonio Margarita had? I'm just want to know why no one mentioned the gloves. If we're worried about no drug testing, and y'all saying, hey, it was said to be reported that no drug testing took place over there in Tokyo, Japan. What that says for us, the customer and the boxing fan, casual or the hardcore, is that there may be some funny business. Funny business. Yes, no drug testing. Then who knows? The commission may not be there to watch the glove, watch fighters get a hand wrap and glove up. So you might find any contraband in there. I mean, old school relics. You might find it. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Why nobody spoke about the gloves when he knocked out Jen Sasaki? Why no one wasn't going up there like Derrick James to try to see if he had some goddamn oak tree, some redwood bark shrapnel up in there, some redwood wood chips up in there, some Home Depot nuts and bolts. Why nobody want to talk about the gloves, bro? Some 2025 plaster of Paris will harden quicker than homemade instant oatmeal. Why nobody was talking about was his gloves, but they came out and said he's juicing. Well, guess what? He signed up for testing now. So for those of you that was out here trying to insinuate, he signed up now. So it's only a matter of time before testing start, whenever that is. And I look at it like this. I mean, do y'all really want the fight? I mean, what is it going to be next? He's enrolled in testing. What's next? Y'all about to go silent for a couple of months? Just so you can come up with something else? What is it going to be next, though? Because y'all say y'all want the best to fight the best, but what's going to be next with this? Explain to me. What can we look for? What's next for this fight? What's going to be the next objects, that can be thrown up there for this fight? Explain to me. I'm curious. I just want to know. He signs up for testing now. What could be next? The ring size? You want a 30 by 30? Then you want a 30 by 30, y'all. So the ring's so big you can catch your Uber to the next corner buckle. What are they gonna do next? Request a goddamn larger ring? I want a 30 by 30, but I'm looking at this and the previous fight he had with Santion. I said, man, hey, isn't there a way y'all can get me like a 34, 35? I thought, yeah, I need ample amount of space, man. I need ample amount of space for real. In case I need to go in there and take a piss, I can jump out, catch an Uber, go to the local restroom and come back. And he still probably wouldn't have made it over there to the next corner yet. I need a ring that big. Y'all think y'all got the space? Yeah, we need that 35 by 35. Yeah, for real. Do you think you can special make a ring for November? What's the turnaround time for that? Oh, you talking about for 35, 35? No. I was just talking to my pops. He said, no, get it like 43, you know what I'm saying? Ish. Yeah, 40. So you want a 43 foot ring, right? Yeah. Because the reason why is that it gives me a little bit more open space to think about, certain things, especially if I'm taking damage. I can just run straight to the corner. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get there if he ain't running. Yeah. 48 by 48. That would be good right there. Unless you got some other things. Unless you got the room. Y'all got the room for it? Is there any way y'all can put a trap door in there too? Because if I get put to sleep, I don't want the whole world watching me. I want y'all to pull that trap door so I can fall down into a freaking like a mobile share lift. You know what I'm saying? A golf cart, something, so I can be wheeled away, man, without nobody seeing me in the underground tunnel. Hey, tell Harriet, man. Yeah, we're gonna need her input on that. I'm just curious, y'all. What is gonna be next? They're gonna want a huge ring size to make sure they have ample space to move, not run, not like Boxing News 24 say the road runner, but to separate themselves from their opponent and re-engage. That is not running. That is, in certain cases, defense. Now, have we seen running? Yeah, we have, but I'm just letting you know. OG Bruce got Boxing Jackson Moore. What's good? Is this fight happen? I foresee Dev Dollars taking an EJ Charlo vacay. Supposedly this fight is happening in November. All this testing mojo, mumbo jumbo was brought to the surface and wanted to be enforced by Bill Haney. Team Norman obliged. What's next? They're going to suggest that Brian Norman needs to wear ankle weights when he enters the ring for the first 6 rounds. He need to wear ankle weights just to prove his worth. Is it initiation phase? Are they going to say he needs to wear ankle weights for the first 6 rounds, 10 pounds each? I mean, what is it going to be next, though? What is it going to be next? You have to ask yourself. People was hyping up, oh, man, they want sign. Then they signed up for it. Now, what's next? That's all I want to know. But I should be on a little bit later. I just want to stop on here and talk about this situation that basically needs assistance. Yeah, it needs some first responder assistance. Yes, the fight is officially made, but at the end of the day, there was certain cases that I seen out there where I didn't hear nothing about VADA 365. Now all of a sudden it's a thing. It needs to happen, and it's going to clean up the sport. Well, that shit didn't bleed over to Reynoso. If you want to talk about cleaning up the sport, I mean, before Ryan came off suspension this April, wasn't something said to him about jumping in VADA? It wasn't anything dealing with Norman. It wasn't another fighter besides Ryan, someone who you was attached to. And even he said he wasn't going to do it. Victor Conte's been on record as saying he came out of his own pocket and those fighters would not do it. So you tell me, should people be making a big deal about this shit when you have other fighters that will not stay consistent with VADA 365? Exactly. That's all I'm saying. Exactly. But salute to everybody who pulled up, man. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game, man. We should do it again, another place, another time. I'm out. Peace.